So what about baseball bats for personal protection? This is a Wilson, I believe you would pronounce this DeMarini. Wilson DeMarini baseball bat. I do believe more specifically it's for softball. It says official softball baseball bat, or softball bat, however you say it. I don't play those types of sports, so I don't know really the difference in types of the styles of bats. I considered maybe going with a wooden bat, but I thought maybe between the splintering and maybe the effects of weather over time, it could affect the bat. I also considered polymer bats such as the Code Steel. They got different types of those. They look to be more like for self-defense, but I kind of just didn't feel comfortable with it. I saw the torture test and stuff, and they seem to be very durable. They would definitely be adequate for self-defense. But I'm gonna be honest with you though, when I found this for, I do believe it was $2 maybe, about 10 years ago or a little less, I just grabbed it up. And you're saying, well, it looks like it's been through hell and back. And it's true. It's not so much hell and back, but it's been used. I found this at a thrift store in a large city when I was traveling, and they had several of them actually, and there's like no dents really per se. It's just some scratches on the surface, and that's it. And these are made out of aluminum, some very good quality aluminum apparently. And I was like, well, I think this would be the best overall material for a bat, not just to play softball, but to use as something that you could keep behind your door and for in an emergency self-protection tool. It came with this cloth wrap thing. I didn't take it off, so it's still it's still useful. It still works. The other one that I got, because I did get two of them. I did wrap that one separately with a different material. I took the wrap off and using my own wrap just to freshen it up. So what are your thoughts on aluminum bats? These softball bats or other bats. I don't even know what kind of materials that bats come in. I would imagine they don't probably come in steel just because they're so heavy. I think aluminum seems to be pretty decent. It seems like this is a pretty decent gauge of aluminum, and the way it's put together, it seems to be great. It's fairly lightweight though. I'm just going to be honest with you. It's pretty amazing. I don't really know if I would say that it's a pound. It seems like it may be around a pound or a hair over. I just don't know. It's so well balanced. It's a little deceiving of how heavy it is, but I'd say between 14 to 18 ounces. I don't know. But so what do you think about this? I know that there's like a real popular wood style bat. I think it's called the Louisville Slugger. As again, I don't really get into this kind of sport. I'm more into basketball personally, but it's one of those things that I think this is one of the better overall choices. And the polymer ones as well could be good by Code Steel. Don't have any kind of experience with them, but for the money though, for literally just for a couple bucks, you could take this, and if you were upset with the finish, you could simply just sand this down further and do a couple priming coats of something, of a metal primer, and paint this, and it would look brand new. And you could also take this old wrap off and put your new wrap on there. Or even, they have all kind of like this thing called Plasti Dip, or Plastic Dip or something. That basically, it's like this spray, and you can spray it on like spray paint, I believe. And it kind of has like a rubberish feel, and then you can just spray on. They also have like spray on rubber too. I've seen that before at Home Depot. So you could just put a couple layers of that on there and not even wrap it, and just have like a rubber grip that's just sprayed on, and you just let it dry. But so I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I think this is a one option that people just don't think about, are the things like this, and those larger mag lights that are kind of obsolete. Well, they pretty much are, unless you wanted them to be a impact weapon. And that's why you still see some places still carry them. And you're like, well, there's keychain lights now that are brighter than the 6 cell or whatever. Maybe they are even bigger than that. There's some of them, I know that they go at least up to 6 cell D batteries. Like, why would you carry that when there's keychain lights that are brighter than that? And so it's not about the light output or even the flashlight feature. It's more about using it as a baton and an impact weapon. But so I like this. I just keep it behind one of my doors, and I have another one. I don't even know where the other one is. I'm gonna have to look for it. It might be in another building, but just wanted to show you this and say, hey, you know, another option for prepping, something you may already have. If you have a wooden one, or if you have a polymer one, or maybe some other material that I'm not aware that they make these in, that might be okay too. You know, it might be just fine, you know. So don't go out and just try to, you know, get yourself an aluminum one just because of me. But a lot of times you can just use what you have and it's just fine. Now let's say that you just don't even want to buy any bats, even if it was $2. What are your options there? Well, if you have any kind of property and there's down trees, or if you have access to a thrift shop or friends, I guess you couldn't go to the thrift shop if you didn't want to make, you know, didn't want to spend any money. So scratch that off. But if you had friends that maybe had relatives that either passed on, God forbid, or whatnot, or they don't need their canes anymore, walking sticks and canes could be a good, you know, substitute for this to some degree. As well as if you had property and you had limbs down, or straight branches that you could actually hack down and just you know, take the bark off, and you know, and if it's sturdy enough, it could be used as an impact weapon. So I mean, I've known even some people to get hardwood in the 2x4s, you know, cut long enough, and then they basically just whittle those down into various types of you know, walking sticks or protective sticks. So with that being said, I'm going to jump off here, and just one quick update on the pellet rifle. I did end up doing the rim oil, and I just ended up using the wipes, and I got like 95% of the rust came right off. It was just very light surface rust. It looked worse than it was. The remaining 5% did kind of started to etch into the barrel, but I coated it pretty well, and it looks like it's going to probably stop that rust right in its tracks. So that's good news. You know, sometimes, you know, things happen, just like with firearms when you carry them, and there's carbon steel in a lot of firearms. You know, even the best, you know, guns out there will rust eventually if you keep on exposing it. I mean, there's countless stories about Glocks, for example, Glocks that you wouldn't think that would rust. You know, they had that famous Tenifer finish. But people have had their Glocks rust, you know. I mean, you know, metal will rust, even though it can be treated and so forth. They're very rust resistant. I've never had any, you know, real experience with rust on most of my firearms, but apparently it can happen. I think on one of my videos, I did show my Ruger LCP and my EDC carry, and I do have ongoing problems with rust on the slide, but the slide only. The barrel is perfect. I don't know if they just use different alloy material or what between the slide and the barrel. But I think if I was to go and do it again, I would get the stainless steel slide. At the time, though, they didn't even make the stainless steel slide because it was a brand new type of gun when I got it. So you live and learn. So and that's how it rolls. But I can understand why people would like to get, you know, aluminum frames, slides, or stainless steel. I can understand all this because rust is a real pain in the butt. And that's one thing about this bat. You know, it's aluminum, you know, and it's not going to rust. You know, I've had this stored in some very humid areas, you know, around the property. And as you can see, it won't rust, obviously. And that's a good thing. You know, you don't want things like this rusting when you need them. So let me know if you use bats as part of your prepping or self-defense protocol or cycling or your rotation of tools. If you keep one in your car, if you keep one in your garage or your shed or your barn in case you have to egress out of your house and you have to have something to use, or do you just keep them behind doors in your home, or do you bury them in a cache or, you know, a cache somewhere that you have a secret place for your bats? Feel free to put those in the comment section below, and as always, thanks for watching.